carefully chosen by professionals from just €100. Visit PROFITUS.com to create personal Robo Invest strategies, automate investments, and watch your money grow. Become PROFITUS investor now and don't delay your journey to financial freedom. PROFITUS is a smart investment platform that lets you invest in real estate-backed business loans carefully chosen by professionals from just €100. Visit PROFITUS.com to create personal Robo Invest strategies, automate investments, and watch your money grow. Become PROFITUS investor now and don't delay your journey to financial freedom.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here today with all of you, and I hope more of you joins in the next few minutes. Today we are having a smart investing forum. At PROFITUS, we do those events monthly in Lithuania and quarterly in English online, so that all of you could ask your questions about investing, about crowdfunding, about PROFITUS. And of course, we usually try not only to share our track record or results overview, but also to include some market insights, overview of the crowdfunding market in general. And today I'm very glad that joining me today is my colleague Sergio from Spain. Hi, Sergio.
Hi, Monika. It's a pleasure to be here with you and our investors today.
Thank you for joining. I think that today we will try to give a short introduction of quarterly overview and some more details and depth in the Spanish market, how it works, what are the differences between our markets, so that investors could make informed decisions and understand the huge difference that we have between those markets. I want to remind everyone then that in these events we usually answer the questions that we get in the comment section. So please do not hesitate to ask a question directly. And during the presentation or afterwards, depending on the topic, we will be able to answer it together. And don't worry if you feel that you know too much or not enough about the crowdfunding market. We're here to support you through the journey of your first investment steps or experienced investor journey. So I will shortly start with my presentation. And yes, thank you for sharing that. And as a reminder, you can ask your questions in the comment section. Starting from the beginning, I wanted to explain a bit that our presentation is more like education event to inform you about what is happening in the market, how is PROFITUS doing, what is the investment potential in Spanish market, but not to provide you information or advices on exact projects to invest to. This is totally the investor's decision, and we believe in PROFITUS that you can make better decisions for your investments when you are fully informed. So that's why we are meeting here today. First of all, the crowdfunding in Europe. For the first time, ESMA has made a report on crowdfunding market in Europe. And it shows that we have a total of 134 platforms in Europe right now that are licensed and can operate as crowdfunding platform. 98 of them are actually actively operating at the moment. They are in 17 European countries, and I'm glad to share that Lithuania is between top 3 platforms. Of course, what Sergio might notice quickly, I have to mention that Spanish market was not included in this report. It might be due to national regulation differences, but overall, Spanish market is also regulated with European crowdfunding regulation. And as all other market players, we have someone from the national, usually the national bank, central bank, who supervises the platforms operating in each country. So Lithuania, except Spain, is third in the market at the moment. And Lithuania actually leads in number of investors. We have a lot of small investors, medium investors, unexperienced investors who are starting to use crowdfunding platforms as a new way to find their path as investors. And actually, I think that this track record this report shows that in Lithuania, we are not only having the highest number of crowdfunding platforms, but we are also investing a lot in market education. That's why even unexperienced investors find their way to try out investing through the platform, through a simple solution, and then they start, build up their portfolios, diversifying through different asset classes. So I believe that this kind of event that we are having today is one of the ways to improve not only Lithuanian financial literacy, but also to improve it in all Europe and add this benefit of sharing knowledge to the Spain market too. Quarterly results. This quarter, as usually the first quarter of each year, is, I would call it a down season for crowdfunding platforms. As most years that I noticed, we are experiencing a bit lower investment numbers after the Christmas period, when we all spent the money on the presents, vacation, holidays, and everything. And usually in January and February, at least in Baltic countries, we noticed a bit of slowdown in construction business. So that's why these numbers are not growing as fast as the next quarters during the years. But I still believe that we are showing a great difference. And you can see that each year we are growing our funding volumes. Last year, it grew 47% from 59 million euros to 87. This year, first 3 months, we funded 21 million euros. If we keep growing quarterly, we will probably reach the similar growth as last year. I'm used to making prognosis about PROFITUS results at the beginning of the year, and I like to check it up at the end of the year and see if my understanding of the market works that well. 21 million euros was close to the previous quarterly result. So we haven't noticed some growth during the quarter, but we still see that the tendency of the first quarter being lowest during the year is showing that we will grow our portfolio even more this year. And the active portfolio stayed the same as we financed 21 million euros. We paid back to investors 22 million euros. So our portfolio was lowered by 1 million, active portfolio, I mean. In total, PROFITUS has funded more than 260 million euros. And at the moment, you can see that we are still keeping a very diversified portfolio, considering the beneficiaries, borrowers that are getting the loans from our investors. And we have a rule at PROFITUS that we believe is the best for our portfolio health, to keep the top developers or borrowers, businesses, under 10% each, to keep the balance in the portfolio. Of course, this actually might differ a bit when we are starting to fund more and more projects in Spain, as Sergio will probably show you, but the difference between the average project on crowdfunding platform in Lithuania and in Spain might be very different. That's why we are having this discussion today, for us and for our investors to have a better understanding of our ability to diversify portfolio across the markets. And what is really important for investors is the actual portfolio that is late. And in the investment market, we all understand, at least we should understand by the book, that all investment tools have different risks. But if you are able to earn that much, you are facing that much risk usually. And I wanted to show you the actual numbers of latent recovery portfolio and how it changes. Of course, with growing track record and portfolio, active portfolio, we are having growing numbers of late portfolio up to some point. This is happening because bad loans in the portfolio stays longer than good loans. The perfect case is usually at PROFITUS around 12 months period for the loan. And if everything goes by the plan, and that borrower gets out of the portfolio and repays the loan in 12 months period. If something isn't working, or a borrower faces challenges, financial issues, any other situations where construction process, selling process, or something that he had planned as the credit repayment way, in that case, when we start the recovery process, it might take up to 3-4 years to recover the loan. That's why in active portfolio, you see a higher number of projects in recovery, because they are staying for a longer period of time. And I would say that, of course, we are comparing to the market competitors. We are seeing the numbers that we have in the market. I noticed that around 20%, 25% is the actual market average, how many loans goes to late or recovery. Of course, crowdfunding has a pretty good recovery ratio. And I think that we are still seeing a lot of platforms with pretty good portfolio quality, as there are many new market players. We have to understand that crowdfunding platform that works, for example, for 2 years might not have created a bad portfolio yet, because it's a really short time of operating. So comparing platforms and portfolio quality, we should always understand that behind these numbers, we have a market average, we have a economic situation, we have a long recovery process, and of course, some platforms that doesn't have the track record of enough period to show the actual numbers. Of course, PROFITUS, at PROFITUS, we are not happy to see those numbers increasing. And each year we are setting the target how much of bad loans we can accept in the portfolio, because we understand that all investments have their own risks. But we are making a target for our own to have less than 10% of late or in recovery portfolio. And at the moment, these numbers are a bit higher, although for most of this part, we already have an action plan how to recover those loans in short period of time. So if you have any questions, I remind you, you can add them in the comment section, and me and Sergio will answer it. Going next, I wanted to share that we noticed that interest numbers that we are paying out to investors is heavily increasing. And the last quarter, we paid out more than 2 million. This is the actual earnings of investors without the invested capital. What's important, always looking at the statistic, I receive a question about how did we finance 260 million euros and only 16 million earned, but we have a return ratio around 11%. This doesn't make sense. So I wanted to get a bit into the details how it's calculated. These numbers are the actual numbers that we pay out of interest to investors. And yes, they earned 16 million. From those 260 million that we have funded, only half of the projects have paid out the interest and the loan back. Some of them are still in the active portfolio, and in most cases, investors earn more in percentage because of the late portfolio, and also from those projects that pay back early, like in 3-month period. That's why percentage is higher, but the actual interest amount might be a bit lower due to delay of the repayments in the portfolio and due to early returns.
Yeah, and Monica, if I can interrupt you, it's I think it's nice for the investors to understand that when a project is in late portfolio, it means the borrower is a bit late in paying back the money, but the contract establishes clauses that protects the investors, so they are paid more in interest during that period. So it's well established that it's compensated. So it doesn't mean we have lost money. It means that we are getting that money back, and during that time we are receiving more interest from the borrower. And it's part of the calculation. It's natural part of the business. In fact, as you said, Spanish crowdfunding companies don't usually share these numbers because they are usually quite high. So we have a good track record, and it's normal that it's stabilizing. So we are improving this and having measures and clauses in the contract to push the borrowers to pay back the money as soon as possible, and during that time to get as much money for our investor as possible. So it's a natural part of the business, and we are protecting the investors in these matters.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. And I think that considering the late portfolio, you have to always understand that in that late portfolio, not all the loans are going to recovery process. Some of them are paying back like in 5 days or 30 days late, and I don't know about Spain. You can share if you have an insight about it. But in Lithuania or Latvia and Estonia too, we are noticing that some developers are even calculating how late they can be to make their business profitable. For example, if the business owner, the borrower, has to pay interest by the end of this month, but he gets a huge discount for the windows on this project, and he wants to spend that money on the windows right now, he is spending it, calculating how much he will pay for being late the next month. So they are kind of making these decisions that are helping them to finish the project more profitable. And small delays in especially in construction business, it's kind of usual. And even when we are building our personal houses in Lithuania, we understand that it might get, when the developer says to you that you can move in May, you can expect in September. So with the finances, they do the same. They want it to be done by July, but they end it in November, so it happens sometimes, and it's part of this business.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. In fact, I come from the development side, and average it's 2 months late in a construction contract, average. So we take that buffer, that 2 months extra, into account in the time schedules, because it's expected to be late. And that's why it's really important for us, for the sales team, to take these clauses into account, so we don't make promises that we cannot be according to.
If we are speaking about being late in Spain, who is doing the average better, the small developers or big developers? Who are more used to being late?
I would say the best ones are boutique or small and really experienced, more than 20 years of experience. So because big companies used to have a budget department that is so far from the works that they don't really good, and they don't do good approximations. And experience do the same, but local and boutique small developers are quite good at approximation. But it's important to know that when we agree in a construction loan for the construction mainly, we expect the developer to have the contract of construction already signed, and they have penalties for the constructor if they are late or they are overcost. So we take that into account also.
Okay, we can, continue this discussion when you are presenting your part, because I feel that we have a lot of, things different in our markets that we usually don't take into account, because, we feel like in Lithuania, we like Spain, we understand Spain, we like to invest there. But actually, how you are explaining the business, what is the experienced developer in Spain with 20 years of experience is it might be quite different, from Lithuania. But we will get to that. Shortly before Sergio starting on the Spanish market, I wanted to share about our Robo Invest tool that we presented last September. I wanted to share some insights, how it's going, and just to present to you the opportunity to use that kind of tool to help you choose the right projects. Because as an investor, I know that sometimes we all make emotional decisions, seeing the project in my childhood town, or the region that I had vacation last year, and we kind of just trust that we have touched the bricks in that town, and we see how the real estate market going there. We rented a house there, so probably the market is going well because I would rent it again. But to be able to make wise decisions, informed decisions, and maybe to control yourself a bit in investments, Robo Invest is a great tool that helps you to set the criteria that is acceptable in general for you, without considering where you had vacation last year, and helps you to choose projects to invest, and does it for you automatically, so you don't have to log in into your account and start investing manually, or read every project, or go through pictures, or invest in those projects that does not fit your risk tolerance, but you kind of have emotional connection to the place, or the project itself. So in Robo Invest we have free opportunities, free plans, and you can use them all at once. You can create up to 5 strategies in total. And for example, I use it in 3 ways. I created the Pro strategy, the most conservative, with the biggest investment amount. I set up my own criteria. You can see it right here. So the conservative strategy has a bit lower interest rates. It has the lowest maximum share of related companies that I want to invest to. It has a shorter term, and all the criteria are set to kind of be like my ideal projects that I would trust to put all of the money that I'm investing. The next one is Steve. It's missing the name here, but it's actually Steve Jobs. 300 euros that goes to a bit wider projects, but still in my risk-free ratio that I choose for my investments. And the last one that works on my portfolio is with the smallest amount, but it goes to almost every project. So it is for growing my portfolio and diversifying my investments through a lot of different projects as much as I can. And I see that we already have a question. Yay! So we can proceed to the Sergio's part, but I wanted to share that through Robo Invest, we already had 2.4 million investments. The highest periodic investment that has been set on the account is 15,000 per project. So for me, it seems like quite a great example that with creating a strategy that meets your requirements, your criteria, you can trust the platform with a bit higher amounts, and do not waste time on looking at each project or coming to the platform every time you receive a newsletter about new project. This helps you to save time, and as I said before, to prevent you from your own emotional decisions. So finishing with this, as an egocentric person, I put myself in the presentation. But I want to give this part to Sergio, and if you feel the right timing to answer the question that we have right now in the comment section, just let me know and I will pop it up on the screen.
Yeah, depends, Monica. I'm sure your photo was better than mine. So, if you can see here, I put on it the size of the Spanish market, and so first of all, it's quite important to understand that Spain has 49 million people, which is Lithuania is 2.8, so around 17 or 18 times the population of Lithuania, and it's well represented in a map. Spain is not homogeneously populated. Like I think many Lithuanian people know Costa del Sol and Madrid and Barcelona and Mallorca, and it's because it's well known for being touristic places. So here I wanted to show the size of each region. So main regions are Madrid, which is 8 million people. Only Madrid is a really big market, really consolidated, and it's still expanding. We have also Eastern region, which is in pink also, that it's Catalonia with Barcelona in the center, and Valencia, Alicante, and so on. And in the south, another really big region, a bit bigger in size than Lithuania, with 8 or 9 million people also, is southern region, which we call Andalusia, and which I am from. So this can give an example of how even investing in Spain, we will make our best to diversify as much as possible, because in some areas we can be with a developer that is looking for a touristic place, and in other areas they are looking for a really consolidated city, which in a moment of crisis, one or the other one is working better. So it's I think it's good to diversify as much as possible. It doesn't mean we will put money in a place no one will ever know about, but we will try to focus in places where we can find good opportunities. Spain is big enough to diversify and to look for opportunities that are not correlated to each other, and that protects a lot the portfolio. So if we can go to the next one. And this is another example of it. As I told before, we have the center, so in Madrid, the south and the east. And in the left, one reason, maybe the main reason why Profitus chose to expand to Spain is because Spanish market as a whole is a good opportunity in this moment. We have had a lack of supply during the last nearly 20 years. Since the 2008, we have not had enough supply of houses. So it has been concentrating in some areas where we can find a huge lack of supply of houses and a really nice demanding, because people are going there to work, because of natural growth of the population, because of tourism, because of many reasons. And in dark pink in the left, you can see Madrid, but also Malaga or Costa del Sol, it's called both ways, and some regions in the east, and even Mallorca or Baleares, that is not populated a lot, but has a huge demand. So, and that's exactly where I realized projects currently under study. We have had only 2 projects at the moment in our platform, but we have offers on our table that we are studying carefully to show to investors as opportunities. and they are exactly the places in pink in the left, because we are filtering where we are going to invest in, and we are choosing places that has a natural growth. That because if we have a loan for a developer that is constructing 20 houses, and there's not demanding for that, there's not demand for that, it will be difficult for them to sell. But if the place is really good for selling, our risk exposure and the probability to have a late project is really low, because it's really easy to sell, and it's happening in many areas. In fact, this is according to the Spanish National Institute of Statistics, and we see we need in average around 240,000 houses a year, and we are constructing only a half of it. Mm-hmm. So we expect really good next 15 years for Spain and for residential. And it's really even more concentrated in some areas where we are focusing it. So if we go to the next one, maybe. Maybe you have... we had a question. What is the most promising location in Spain for real estate development? Ernuxas.
Thank you, Ernuxas, for the question. So, Sergio, what is the most promising location?
Yeah, we are focusing mainly in Malaga, and that is in southern region. In southern region in general, but Malaga precisely because it has a natural growth of the population. It's now a hub of technology. So, for example, Google has their international security department in Malaga. It's not in Silicon Valley, it's in Malaga. And it's a place where many people are going for work, not only for vacation. So we see the whole region is expanding a lot, and it's only constructing a half of it, of what's necessary. So we are looking for opportunities there actively. It happens similarly in some regions in the eastern coast, like Alicante, Valencia, Barcelona, and in Mallorca. And in Madrid is really attracting also because it's really consolidated. It's a really prime location, but I really expect good projects from Malaga, from the southern region, where we will filter what projects are really interesting for our investors. Okay.
The best projects. That's what they are interested in. The best projects.
Exactly. And that's why we have projects on the table and we are filtering. So we make sure investors are safe enough.
Yeah, I can share that when I first saw how Sergio is analyzing the projects in Spain, I was actually really surprised because in Lithuania, it's like 10 different experts are doing the same job as Sergio, who have worked for developers before, huge developers, and was planning the finances, the cash flows, was analyzing the market, what to buy, what to develop, So I see that your experience and your perception of the market and the projects is really wide, and like broad knowledge helps you to choose the investment opportunities, not only good, on the paper, but also to understand in deep how this project would, pay back, how it will finish on what timing. You're very specific with the terms, the cash flows, and everything. So that was kind of surprising for us, as in Lithuania we have an idea that Spain is like a vacation location for us. We see Spain as more relaxed people, but what we actually noticed that Spanish people are working even harder to be so sure about the market opportunities.
Yeah, and thanks for your words. It happened in 2008 that Spanish real estate market crashed. So it's a good starting point to understand the actual situation, because we saw late portfolios from commercial banks coming from 0.8 up to 38% average. So all market was crashed, and the developers that survived to that are really good at analyzing, are really good at calculating the risk, and are really, really good in choosing the location. And the financial partners, in our case PROFITUS, must be at the same level. So we make sure we have enough governance, and our risk exposure and our return is reasonable. And we start negotiating for such a long time, because it's a long-term relation with the developer. So yes, and coming to the question of Mikle,
what attitude Spanish people have towards foreign platforms?
Yes, connected to that, it happens that Spanish people are open to foreign developers, for foreign development companies, and for because they are investing their equity in develop a project, and are open to foreign platforms, open to financial platforms. But for example, connected to what I said before, during these years and a lack of supply, there's no any foreign constructor in Spain. No one, at least big one, and that I know from. It's really, really competitive, really, really competitive. And it shows how they have improved in their calculations. So having choosing right developers and choosing right location is really important. And I think it's a good opportunity for PROFITUS that has someone local in the south and not in Madrid, that is quite far away, to be on the ground. So we will find opportunities there. And yeah, we have this slide. I chose a couple 4 different projects that could be like typical in Spain. We have residential, prime and multifamily, that it's a block of units, hospitality and so on. What I wanted to show also is why the developers are interested in having an agreement with us. So for prime residential, for villas, which we call, normally they are really boutique. They are really little, local, and understand the market. It's mainly for foreigners. 80% of prime villas are for foreigners, not for Spanish, and that's important. And are developed by local boutique developers that understand the precise location, because in some areas it's better to have sea views, and in other ones it's better to have a golf club or a restaurant, and it's important for deciding. The banks are not really interesting in these projects because they need to understand the specific projects. they have a analysis department, and they would need someone to take care of the project, go on their own to the ground, and so on and so on. And it's time consuming.
Basically, the project size might be too small for traditional institution to even start analyzing each case individually. But I think that this first block, is what we Lithuanians call our favorite investment in Spain. It's usually, I think, by the private debt.
Yes, it's usually through private debt. Exactly, and we will show these cases in the future. We have now one, and we will see more of this one. And I really like to be on the ground first week to see the actual location. It's pretty important, and it's difficult for the banks to do that way because they are really bureaucratic compared to Profitus. So if we go to the next one, it's multifamily residential. It's the next column. So it's mainly what a Spanish developer prefers. It's easier for them to develop. It's easier for them to understand, and they don't need to be really, really local, as they understand the Spanish mentality, and they will sell the most of the units, at least 50%, to other Spanish clients, because they are not only selling to foreigners. And banks, after the crisis, started to be really restricted and filtered too much, that in some cases they expect a pre-sales ratio of 80%. So if the developer has already sold 80% of the building before starting the construction, it means they have a price so low they have no margin. So in many cases, the developer prefers to have an agreement with us and have a better margin to put more reasonable prices and not just, give it for free. So they can close the agreement quicker, and it makes the margin really better. So in some cases, it's just because of they don't want to have that really low prices. The two last ones are hospitality, commercial, and offices. So commercial real estate, it happens also from the bank perspective. They don't like buildings that are not operating yet. They prefer a commercial center that has a business account. They have actual numbers, real numbers, and they can check them. So because of bureaucratic also, but to lower their risk, because they don't have much money to put into the real estate sector at the moment. So the developer used to need private loan for construction, and for in some cases up to 2 years of operating, until they can refinance with the bank. So for them, it's quite important to find a good partner to close these kind of deals. And I put our preferred client as a builder track record developers. These kind of buildings are really efficiency sensitive. So you need to be really good at construction efficiency, and we have really good constructors. So I really prefer people who has experience in this kind of topics. And the last one is opportunistic purchases. So if you want to...
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think that the third column is a bit similar as we have in Lithuania. Traditional institutions like the banks are giving the financing when you develop project until some level, like 80% of the project is done, and you sign the rent contract for at least 5 years with someone, then you have a signed cash flow for the next 5 years, then they can finance it. And we had a few examples. We call it a bridge loan, actually, when we help to develop a project until some point. When they sign a rent contract and go to the bank, we already know at the first day of the construction that they will get the loan from the bank, but we still need to help them to develop until some point. And those projects are usually, at least in Lithuania, the ones that investors earn more, because you kind of finance the project by stages. You develop a bit, you get more loans. You develop a bit, you get more money for the construction, and at some point you reach the level that you needed to sign the rent contract or pre-sale or something. And at that point you have to start refinance the whole project, so you are paying back to the investors, all of them at the same time, although some of them invested like a year ago and some just 3 months ago. So they are getting more interest from the last stages of the project, and I think this is a great opportunity. This is not like very usual deal on the platform, but when you notice one, it's a good choice of
Yes.
investment.
And I think it will be even more common in Spanish market because of this risk averse position from the bank. They don't just ask for the contract, because in Spain sometimes we have the contract signed before ending the construction, but they want the contract signed and 1 year of
Yeah.
operations. So we have some time to interact with the developer, and it's a great opportunity for us. So the last column shows opportunistic purchase. It happens, like you said, as bridge loans. The developer needs some money now or this month to buy an asset or start a construction, and the bank. I would like you to tell me how long a Lithuanian bank take to close a deal, but in Spain now it's average 4 months, I would say 4 to 5 average.
So it's impossible to get that opportunity, because even in Lithuania we have those, for example, projects on sale in an auction. So you have like 20 days to buy it. You cannot get a guarantee from the bank to get financing in that short period of time. So they are using platforms to buy those real estate objects. And I think in Spain, when the market is even more active, and you have investors and buyers not only from Spain but also from other European countries that are interested to buy real estate there, to use that opportunity really quick, it's really hard with the bank financing.
Exactly. So I think these 4 would be pretty good examples of what we can do in Spain. The first column is what we expect from Spain, but there are more opportunities there, and we are studying more opportunities, not only the first one.
I think that the first column is the most similar to the average project on the platform at the moment in Baltic countries. But what's really funny for me on the slide is that you call small size developers lower than 100 million euros. So it means 90 million euros is still considered a small developer in Spain, although in Lithuania it's probably one of the top 10 developers.
Yes, yes, exactly. I think a top 5 in Lithuanian developer would be maybe top 30 in Spain. And so really, really big firms are not usually our clients, really, really big developers, because they have partnerships with assurance companies and so on that supplies billions of euros. So we can access in Spain to a really, really big portfolio of borrowers, as even those big borrowers can have only a share of 10% of the market. So it's really segmented, it's fragmented, it's regional, and we can find the most of the projects from what we call small size developers, because big players are only in Madrid and not many places else.
But I also noticed when I was visiting Spain a few years ago at the conference with real estate developers discussing, financing opportunities in Spain. Uh, what surprised me that for us big developers, for you maybe medium developers, they are still considering the crowdfunding platforms as financial partner, not only for the flexibility, good speed of financing, not only other conditions, but also in Spain, developers are also diversifying their financial partners. So they are kind of securing different financing options for separate projects just to make sure that if one financial partner goes out of the market or doesn't provide the financing anymore, all of other businesses would keep them going and financially stable. So I think that this is kind of the smart thinking that's in big markets you guys have, and that helps to develop that long track record for those experienced developers.
Exactly. An experienced developer usually asks to 3-4 financial partners for one project. So that's average. So it's important to have a good analysis team that understand the real risks of the project, because in some cases, if you are so far away, it's difficult to see maybe that the location is pretty good and you don't have much commercial risk. So you can offer reasonable terms to the developer and to the investors also. And yes, they are diversifying a lot.
That's great. We have one more question from Donce Gigi. What makes Spain an attractive location for real estate investment right now? From your perspective, like I know the answer in Lithuania, but it's interesting to hear how you see it.
Yeah, as long term, where I started from, we are constructing only a half of what's necessary. It means if you see a project is reasonable and you study properly the location and the margins and so on, the risk exposure is not too big. So you can get pretty reasonable returns and really high in some cases if you get opportunistic cases. And the risk exposure is not too big because banks are so afraid of the market and has so low level of cash to provide to real estate market that they leave the most of the market for PROFITUS and companies that are similar, but PROFITUS is able to get to those locations and to analyze them quickly.
Okay, I think this is the last one.
Yeah, the last one. So quick one, Costa del Sol or Malaga, and I wanted to show a couple of samples of what we explained before. So Western region from Sotogrande to Marbella, for example, and this is only one of the pieces, one of the regions of Spain. We have 50. So Western is more used to villas and these single family fancy units. Eastern is more consolidated, like more proper towns with their center and so on. And it's important to understand that we will choose For example, Ocean 11 is a project of villas, and it's between Estepona and Marbella, and it's well located in the area. They have the sea really next to it. They have really rich areas next to it, so it's the proper place to be if you want to construct that. It's not only, okay, I will create a villa here. And the other one was this project that is in a more consolidated neighborhood in Malaga. And it makes sense. Like, Malaga is more consolidated. They have expansion areas, and it's more for multifamilies, and they have prime flats, but it's prime flats and not villas. So what I mean is, even in Costa del Sol, that we have this huge demand and not a big supply, we can find different opportunities, and it will be one of our focus areas. But it's important for us, and we are doing it, choosing the right place for each project. So we filter the best opportunities for our investors.
Well presented. Although one project was on our platform, I think even before you joined, or somewhere at the similar time, you still analyzed how well it's placed in Spain market. So it's interesting to hear your point of view. What I wanted to share, as I see that our time is up, although I could speak for hours with Sergio about Spanish market, why developers are choosing crowdfunding platforms, what kind of developers, what is the typical project in Spain. Everything is really interesting, and I think that we will have another discussion. So everyone who's watching can just text to our support team and offer the topics that you want to hear the next quarter. If we see the need, we will do more frequent events in English. But at the moment, I just wanted to share that for everyone who's watching, €25 bonus is still applicable with the code Monika Grow. If you want to try investing in the projects on the platform, although at the moment I don't see the Spanish project, but we have one in Latvia and two projects in Lithuania. One is on the seaside, one is in the capital city. So there is a lot of great options at the moment to start and try out the investing platform. And we also have an app which helps you to, make your investment journey more easy and light. And I want to thank you, Sergio, for joining today. It was really interesting, and I think that the next time we will spend more time on the Spanish market part, because I feel that for investors from all the markets, not only from Lithuania, it's really important to get your perspective, to see how you, as a person who lives there, who works there, who analyzes the market every day for years, how you see the market and what is your understanding of what is a good project, well-placed project, good location, and high liquidity. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
And I want to thank all of you who have watched. This record will stay in our YouTube channel, so you can rewind it later and have a nice evening for Lithuanians and lunch for Spanish.
Not lunch, but it's sunny yet.
Okay. So thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
PROFITUS is a smart investment platform that lets you invest in real estate-backed business loans, carefully chosen by professionals from just €100. Visit profitus.com to create personal Robo Invest strategies, automate investments, and watch your money grow. Become PROFITUS investor now and don't delay your journey to financial freedom. PROFITUS